Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to be doing my follow-up video for Stamp Wars 8, which was sponsored by Kitchen Sink Stamps. You can watch our live video over at Nancy Stamps YouTube channel, which I will also link below. So today I'm making a card with the Kitchen Sink Stamps Winter Cardinal multi-layer stamp set. Kitchen Sink Stamps specializes in clear multi-step polymer stamps. They also provide a stamp alignment guide with your purchase, and you can go find color recipes for each set using different brands of inks on the Kitchen Sink Stamps blog. So if you're not sure what colors to start with or what colors would look good, because it is a multi-layer stamp, you can go check that out. Something else that Kitchen Sink Stamps does is provide you with a free SVG at the time of purchase. If you forget and need to go back and get it at a later date, it'll cost you 99 cents. But if you put it in your basket when purchasing the stamp set, it's free. So let me show you what the SVG files look like in my brother's scan and cut software. As you can see here, you're going to get a cardinal cutout for each cardinal, but then you're also going to get two different cutouts for the pine boughs. So you have two that have more detailed cutout, which is the ones that I'm holding here now, and then to the right of those two you have the ones that are just like the outline. For this card I'm going to be using the ones that have the detailed cutout. Now as you see here, what I did was I duplicated the design so that it completely filled an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. And now I am sending it to my scan and cut machine. You can either send it, if you don't have wireless, you can send it via a USB cable, and if you do have wireless, then you can send it wirelessly. This is what it looks like after all cut out. I've already picked up some of the cardinals off the page, and this is one of the ones that I'm going to be using, and this would be what it looks like after we're done stamping it. This is one of the larger pieces. You get two different sized pine boughs. So let me walk you through what the stamp alignment guide does to help you out here. So this is going to be the suggested order of the stamps. And so the first one is going to be 1A, and then you have 2A, 3A, and 4A. There is an extra step on this, and the actual stamp alignments guide has been revised. So this was just an old copy, but then the other cardinal is going to be the B stamps. So you have 1B, 2B, 3B, and 4B. And then the large pine bough is the C's. So 1C, 2C, 3C, and 4C. And actually the way I do it is I do 4C first, and then I work backwards. And you'll see that later. And I work backwards as well with the cardinal. So I'm going to be using the Catherine Pooler inks for this, and I'm using Blackjack. And this seemed to be the easiest way for me to get this, because I would do the first 3 layers and then I would do this black layer and I would just get it off, and I'd have to start all over. So what I'm looking at when I line this up is I'm trying to get the mask right under like the chin area of the beak, and then follow it down the tail area. This is the second layer, and this is going to be using Catherine Pooler Polished. From here, I'm lining it up on the right side with the top of his head and then following it all the way down the body. This stamp should cover the whole entire die cut. As you'll see, the next step, because I still have some white showing through, what I did was I got out my Zig blender pen and I just dipped it into the ink pad. I do it off to the very edge because I don't really recommend doing it directly into the ink pad. So if you're going to do a lot of watercoloring, I would say smoosh it onto like your glass mat and then go off of that, because the blender pen can kind of discolor your ink pad a little bit, but the tiny amount that I did here wasn't such a big deal. So the next step is going to be using the Samba ink from Catherine Pooler. And again, I am lining up the top of the head, the crown of the head, and then following it all the way down to the tail. I would say the first layer, the black around the beak and stuff, is probably the hardest layer to put down. The rest of them are pretty easy to line up, and I'm doing it the same way. This way, looking at the top of the head, but I'm also looking at the feet because this is going to color its feet a little bit more with some shading. And then here's the other one, the smaller bird, looking to the left. I guess they're both looking to the left, but the other one's got its head turned. And this is the one I just did. So next we're going to work on the pine boughs. And so as I mentioned earlier, I do step number 4 first because this is your darkest and most detailed stamp. So this is going to help you with the rest of the alignment for the rest of the stamps. So we're going to be using green tea, and the last one was spruce. And these definitely get easier as you go, especially using the die cuts, because you just pretty much follow the outline. And then also I can see now the first layered stamp that I did, which helps me line everything up. Lime Ricky is the third. And technically, I think the third step in the stamp alignment guide is the pine cones, but I do those last. This one is going to fill most of the die cut. I'm going to have very little white left over after this one is done. And then, as I said, I like to do the pine cones last, and this is going to be using Sandcastle. Everything looks a little bit dark right now, but with Catherine Pooler inks, they do dry back a little bit, so they get a little bit lighter when they dry. You can kind of see that's the one I just did. Compared to the others that I did a while ago, they look a little bit lighter. So to be honest, I was really struggling with what kind of card I wanted to do with the Cardinals because I didn't want to do a Christmas card because we just kind of got out of Christmas and I'm over Christmas. So Tracy on the FSC design team, she mentioned something about the Phoenix Cardinals. And I was like, oh, you know what? My father-in-law loves the Phoenix Cardinals and his birthday is February 14th. So why don't I use this opportunity to make a card specific to his birthday and the Phoenix Cardinals? And so I decided to foil it as well and make a background, a custom background, football themed, obviously. And that's what you're seeing here is that I had some SVG files that were all football related and I threw them all together in Inkscape. And this is basically one panel and then I made it full size. And then I printed it on my laser printer. And so the next step is going to be to cut it down to a card front size because I don't want to boil the whole entire thing just yet. I can store this and save it for another day for another person. But it does say happy birthday in it, so it is a little specific. I'm going to be using gold textile foil. And don't forget to dusty. And I'll be running this through my Mink on, I have the large Mink, and so I'll have it on 4. Let it cool, and then reveal. And that looks pretty cool. So the colors for the Arizona Cardinals are red, black, and gold. So that's why I went with gold, because I'm going to put it on a black card base. And then don't throw away your, what we call waste foil, because you can use that again on a toner sheet. I had a few different elements to play with, so I wasn't sure what the layout was going to be. And here I'm just kind of going back and forth between different layouts. And the one that I ended up going with is this one. I ended up tucking his legs into the little cutout on the pine bough. And so you can see his little legs poking through. So I'm going to do a couple more things first before putting this together. I have a sentiment that I want to put on there, but it's a little plain. So I'm going to get some Rockin' Red Catherine Pooler ink, and I'm going to do a little vignette around the outside. And then I'm going to take the blackjack and do the same with the panel, the foiled panel, just so it's not such a stark white up against the black cardstock, the black base that I'm using. So now we're going to throw this together. And for those of you who are not familiar with Stamp Wars, definitely go check it out. It's a friendly competition between the Foiling Snobs Club design team, and we do it at least once a month. We have a blast. We don't know what the stamp set is going to be. We are surprised with it when we go live. We open it live on YouTube. Again, that's on Nancy Stamp's channel. Also, be sure to go check out the other participants, and I will link their YouTube channels below because everybody does a giveaway. And this time around, I'm actually going to be giving away 2 prizes because SNR Creations YouTube channel reached 500 subscribers, and we'll be doing the drawing on the 23rd of January. And if you want to be entered, just leave a comment down below. It is open to US residents only, 18 and older, please. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for hanging out, and be sure to go check out modsquadchallenge.com for a discount code for kitchen sink stamps, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.